As we are in the time of the great crossing, of when spirits will be leaving their genetic vehicles, I believe this information is most timely and relevant. You can make your ascension embodied or disembodied, incarnate or disincarnate. This addresses disincarnate ascension, spirits that have been liberated from their genetic vehicles. But there are still some steps to take, some knowledge to be understood, and in furtherance thereof, I present this information from West Pinre, going through the grid. And this is referring to the frequency fence grid that Enki had placed over the planet. Here is a general guideline how to exit through the grid after our physical bodies have expired, and what we suggest you don't do. All we do need to do is to spot the grid above us after we die with the expired physical body as a reference, as there is no up and down in space. In fact, your vision is 360 degrees and up and down all at once. It's not limited to this sort of tunnel vision that we have. Furthermore, the human eye only picks up about 1% of the entire spectrum, the light spectrum. So anyway, look for a hole in the grid, set an intention, and exit through one of the holes. In a nanosecond, you will be on the other side to experience the KHAA, aka the greater universe, the non-quarantine universe. We understand that although the solution is simple, there is a lot of fear involved. Fear of death and fear of the unknown. We know this because we are constantly getting questions and concerns, Wes and his compadres. So here's a question. What if I don't immediately realize that I'm dead? If I'll have a traumatic and sudden death, am I not in trouble of being hijacked and waylaid in the astral? How much time will I have to exit before it is too late? This could always happen. The privilege you have is that you know about the grid and what you need to do. With that in mind, it won't take long before you realize that your physical incarnation is over, and you can, as soon as possible, concentrate on the task of leaving. Another thing to do as far as preparation is to totally transcend all attachments, to include your emotional attachments, family attachments, pet attachments, but all attachments to this matrix system. It is always beneficial to, and that's not to say don't enjoy them in the here and now, but put it in perspective, because those attachments can keep you from exiting the grid, can confuse you. Hijackers will come along. So anyway, as soon as possible, concentrate on the task of leaving. There is no set time limit to exit the grid. And besides that, time is perceived differently in the astral than in 3D. Just do it as fast as you're able, and don't pay attention to anything you might experience around you. Many of us might not encounter anything at all before we exit. The only thing that's important is to focus on the task of leaving. Can I be tricked to going into the tunnel of light? Only if you allow yourself to be tricked. We have discussed the grid and the exit procedure in many of our videos, and it is also discussed in the West Pinre papers. Some of us might encounter thought forms, astral beings, spirit guides, or deceased false relatives and friends who try to lure us into the light. It is up to you if you fall for that or not. If you want to go through the grid, the safest thing you can do is to not listen or pay attention to anyone or anything, whatever it can be. Some souls see the tunnel quite instantly after death and feel drawn to it, both electromagnetically and because of an abundance of love that is pouring out from it. This love is false in the sense that it is energy being stolen from the human soul, energy to trick us. the loosh that the archons harvest. If you feel drawn to it, just turn the other way to get away from it and concentrate on the grid. My fear is that I might be tricked by a false grid. What if the overlords create an illusion of the real grid and I think it's genuine? Maybe the hole in the false grid leads me right into the tunnel of light. We have been instructed by a long-term source who is very knowledgeable at this to keep it very simple. Just go through the grid, period. Besides that, if the overlords would project a false grid, which we highly doubt, that's not what you're aiming for. Once you're out of your body and you see a hole in the grid, set an intention. An intention. I am going through the grid into the greater universe. Or I am going through the grid to Orion. If that's your purpose, then it doesn't matter what the overlords have set up, because in your mind, you're going through the real grid, which is possible because there are holes in the original grid. Don't project obstacles and barriers, just do it. We humans are not used to creating boundaries, so beings in the astral have a fairly easy time reading our energy signature. And they can spot our weaknesses, and they can potentially take advantage of them. It's up to you not to fall for them, and it's a good idea to start focusing on that task while you're still here, while you're still incarnated. Then when it's time, you know what to do. Spot a hole in the grid and think yourself through it. Think, that's all you do, is you think yourself through it. That's the simplicity of everything else. Everything else is added. It's created in your own mind because of your fears. The key word here is focus. Do not let anything distract you. Learn to be determined without letting your fear get the best of you. I am concerned that I don't have free will, or the bad guys will not honor it, so they can do whatever they want to me. You do have free will. But you, like all of us, have been manipulated into not using it to the extent we are supposed to, which is having complete free will of choice with all potentials available to us. Only you can stop yourself, because in every moment of your existence, you are operating on what is inside of you, not what is inside of someone else. Even when you get manipulated, even then, you are making your own decisions. You are the one who can change your destiny, because only you can determine what you want. The soul belongs to you. It is you in the greater universe and within this construct. If you think someone else is more powerful than you when it comes to your decisions and implementation of them, you are not using your own inner strength. If you do use it, no one can stop you, because you are your own power. For someone to have power over you, you must give them that power first. Also, don't even put yourself in a situation where you need to defend yourself or argue for your case. Just go through the grid. That's so much true in this reality as well. We give so much of our power away. Moreover, the overlords are not very concerned about individuals. They are more concerned about the human soul group as a collective. They don't waste too much effort to go after individuals, except if these individuals severely threaten their agenda, which a few souls exiting through the grid do not. If you see a beehive and want to collect it, you quarantine the hive so the bees can't escape. However, a few bees will probably still escape. Will you go after them? Probably not. You still got the hive, but if they sting you, you might swat them. As far as I know, they have these advanced weapons stolen from Orion. Why wouldn't they use them? They might or might not. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of just... But this is just some information to think about the impermeability, the impermanence, let's try another, of life, and to begin thinking about the separation of this flesh matter, this flesh puppet, this genetic vehicle. It's just minerals and materials, and we're little pop-ups from the planet. Our avatar, our actual, who we really are, the soul, the energy, the etheric body, that is what I recommend to begin to think of yourself as, because this will go away. We know that. It is best to get it, assimilate it, and begin to operate from that perspective. When I look in the mirror, I see a skull. I see, I purposely see myself in the grave, or or just rotting through worms and eyeballs being decomposed, and because this is not me. This flesh, this matter is just a vehicle in which my soul is here to learn and to actually escape. Because part of this, as I learn and begin to study, is some of this construct is against our will, but every situation has a lesson to be learned, and that lesson here was to start thinking of yourself as as an energy body. And I don't know, a lot of information about this great event, this great solar flash, seems to be right around the corner. Although people have been saying that for time, I don't really sweat it because I live in the moment. I recommend you live in the moment. I recommend you hit the subscribe button and begin to think of yourself in energetic terms, because all is energy, and we are light. At our core essence, we are fractals of light, of source essence. Namaste, namaskaram.